Well, thank you for continuing to plow through, and certainly it's good to see you here today with us. Following the October 7 attacks and the conflict between Israel and Hamas, and as that continues, we're seeing significant increase in anti-Semitism, anti-Muslim, and anti-Arab hate. And I certainly worry a great deal, as I know you do, about the increase in hate against these communities all across the United States, including schools. We're seeing it on college campuses. I've heard from Muslim and Jewish constituents who are worried for the safety for their families and their houses of worship. According to recent reports, the rates of anti-Semitism and anti-Muslim hate have hit historic highs in our country. And Attorney General Garland, I know you have said repeatedly that the Justice Department has absolutely no tolerance for violence or unlawful threats of violence fueled by anti-Semitism or Islamophobia, and that no person and no community in this country should have to live in fear of hate-related violence. So my question for you is, given this profoundly concerning trend, can you speak to how the department utilizes your existing resources, whether via Civil Rights Division or elsewhere, to support these communities that are being impacted? And in what ways does the department need additional support to respond, given the large increase of this type of violence around the country?
Yes. I couldn't have said it better than you did with respect to the level of our concern. Since the Hamas attacks on October 7th, spiking hate crimes, both against, with respect to Islamophobia and with respect to anti-Semitism, just gone through the roof. We have brought quite a number of prosecutions even during that time, since October 7th, and we treat this in the most serious way. We have to disrupt and deter such acts. And the only way in the end to do that is to get heavy sentences. With respect to our work in this, this is a combination of the work from our Civil Rights Division side and from our where it becomes domestic violent extremism to our national security side. We've asked for $201.3 million, which is a 10.8% increase for the Civil Rights Division, 14 attorneys, much of that to cover hate crime investigations, which are spiking. The FBI Civil Rights section has asked for $114.5 million, which is an increase in 30% for that purpose. In the U.S. Attorney's offices, we've asked for $55.8 million, an increase of 12.2%. For the civil rights coordinators to work on these kind of matters. An important but little known part of the department is our Community Relations Service, which tries to mediate conflicts so that they don't get to the stage that we're talking about here. And for them, we're asking for $29.1 million, which is a 21.2% increase. That's on the civil rights side. We have another whole set of requests on the national security side, where this moves from hate crimes to what we would regard as domestic terrorism.
All right, well, good, and it's important to keep that focus, and I appreciate your focus on that and your request. In 2018, I led the successful bipartisan effort to authorize a new grant program titled the Emergency and Transitional Pet Shelter and Housing Assistance Grant Program. This program was set up as a pass-through, which funds initially going to the USDA, but the grants are administered by the Department of Justice, and it provides emergency and transition shelter options for domestic violence survivors with companion animals. And this is actually very critical, given that studies have shown that victims of abuse are less likely to leave a very abusive situation if they have a beloved pet. Abusers often target that pet, and in fact, a number of studies have shown that on average, the person who is being abused, the survivor, will delay leaving a relationship for up to 2 years. 2 years being in that, because clearly they care about this pet who's going to be the target of further abuse. So this vital program helps the federal government ensure that more domestic violence shelters can accommodate victims with pets, or they arrange a third party to make sure that the victim knows that that pet will be secure. And in the years since its launch, we have seen demand far outstretch the available funding. And in fiscal year 24, I secured authorized funding of $3 million for the program. So my question for you, Attorney General Garland, do you agree that it's essential that we continue funding a grant program authorized by my PAWS Act and help empower victims of domestic violence with the tools they need to escape the violent situations that they're in?
We have to protect the victims of domestic violence, and thanks to the PAWS Act, over the last 3 years, our Office of Victims of Crime has made 31 awards totaling $8.8 million for the nonprofit entities that support domestic violence survivors and their pets as they navigate into transitional housing.
Great. Well, I appreciate your support of the program and your statement on the necessity of doing this to help our survivors. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Peters. Senator Moran.
Chairwoman, thank you again. General, let me raise three